Namaskar and welcome to the program. Maya Angelou had once said, people live in direct relation to the heroes and sheroes they have. And on our program today, we have a real shero. She is the founder of Sheroes and is a change maker in a large way because she provides this wonderful, safe, revolutionary ecosystem for women who are professionals and are looking for a space to discuss their issues. We're delighted to have on our program today Sairee Chahal.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
There is a story behind Sheroes, isn't it? Why you call it Sheroes?
There are many stories, but the story of the name is the most interesting because it's a Maya Angelou story. Yeah. So we all read Maya Angelou in college. You know, she's a big sort of feminist icon for all of us. Yeah. So when we were setting up the company, we wanted the domain sheroes.com. So we searched who owns it, and there was a lady in Arizona who had the domain name and who wanted to build something apparently, and she registered it. And when she registered the domain name, she wrote to Maya Angelou requesting permission. Okay. And Maya Angelou, being the generous herself, wrote her a very kind letter with the permission and wishing her luck. And that lady registered the domain. Unfortunately, she never sort of did much with it. So when we reached out to her and we told her that this is what we are building out, she very happily sort of gave us the name. And when we got the domain, we also got the original Maya Angelou letter.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah.
So that's like such a treasure.
20-year-old letter, I think just before she passed away. So it was one of those, serendipitous things to happen.
Maya Angelou, as you said, is a great inspiration for most of us who want to do something with our lives, or sometimes when you're just wanting to break free.
Yeah.
And that has been, a theme with you as a young kid living in a small town or growing up in small towns, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think to me, it's really finding your bigger sky. You start seeing it from where you are as a kid, from your window, from your room, from your door, from your cubicle, from the window of the car. But when you look at the blue sky, it's just wide open for everyone. And I think a little bit my journey has been like that. It just keeps expanding and it keeps sort of inspiring. And I think a lot of work we do is kind of symbolic for the same. I guess that's exactly what we are trying to do for a lot of women out there. That's the whole nature of the platform. That's the whole soul of Sheroes, to say, hey, why don't we sort of, in Hindi, I think it sounds more poetic when we say thoda sa asman. I think it just sort of comes out far more beautifully. But I think we're all looking for a little piece of our own sky. We're looking for our imagination to sort of find a place in the universe. We're also looking for inspiration, right? You want to look out and sort of feel at peace about who you are and what you've done with your life.
ये अच्छी बात कही आपने कि थोड़ा सा आसमान हर कोई ढूंढने की कोशिश करता है, लेकिन उसके साथ ये विश्वास, ये आत्मविश्वास के it's okay to look for your sky.
बिल्कुल.
That's very important.
Absolutely. So there's a thing that is at center of Sheroes. जब हम Sheroes की बात करते हैं तो हम यही कहते हैं कि हम क्या बना रहे हैं. So बहुत लोग मुझसे पूछते हैं आप क्या बना रहे हैं. आप जॉब पोर्टल बना रहे हो, आप ई-कॉमर्स कंपनी बना रहे हो, आप महिलाओं को पढ़ाओगे, आप क्या करोगे.
NGO
चलाते हो आप. पर हम ना बेसिकली एक सेफ स्पेस बना रहे हैं. सेफ स्पेस, इट्स अ स्पेस फॉर वॉइस. My voice loaded with my dreams, with my aspirations, with what I want to do with my life. What is my relationship with the universe around me, with my family, with my friends, with my husband, with my co-workers, with people who are my partners, people I hold in big esteem, people who are my role models. It all comes together, and I think women thrive in communities. We've seen those models, and we are giving, right? Yeah. We are giving by design, and if you are by design a giver, then you need to be in spaces which are designed for that. You can't be isolationist because you won't sort of thrive yourself. Like you bloom when you're planted in the right space, you have the right sunshine, the right sky, it all comes together. So that's how we think of Sheroes. So fundamentally putting together a platform which is safe, it's high empathy, it's a growth space. It's also a space of sometimes giving and sometimes taking, you know, because every day when we get up, some days we are all pumped up, some days we are not there. We need somebody to say, here's a coffee for you, you know, let me make your day better, let me motivate you a little bit. So it is a community of women. It is a platform for women to find their own mojo. So within that community there are various resources, there are sub-communities, there are various interest groups, there are other women, you know, so sort of the circle sort of keeps connecting. It's a circle of support where I can come in as a taker today, but tomorrow I can be a giver. I can help other people, so I can pay it forward, I can connect, I can also, you know, use the peer network. So it's sort of, you know, and these models have existed, so it's not just like a fictitious business. You know, we've seen this play out, you know, it played out first when Amul came into being. So Amul did the same thing. It brought this whole, you know, dairy producing women into an ecosystem that supported each other, right? That's what it did, little cohorts of women. Then we saw it play out with the microfinance movement. Then we saw it play out with the self-help group. Seva did the same job with the million artisans, right? So these models have existed. We are just deploying technology so that it can scale. Instead of 1 million women, it can go to 100 million women.
That is your dream, isn't it?
That's our dream.
And how far have you reached?
Actually, we are a member base of about 2 million women.
Okay.
But our network is almost 18 million women now.
Okay, and these are spread over 20,000 cities in India.
Yeah, basically, you know, when you put us on the map, you'll find those little pins everywhere now, right from, you know, very small towns, very small villages. जहाँ पे भी इंटरनेट पहुँच रहा है, हम पहुँच जाएंगे या पहुँच रहे हैं.
ये सबसे बड़ी जो उसकी खासियत भी है और खामी भी है कि अगर आप इंटरनेट कनेक्टेड हैं तो आप शीरोज़ के साथ जुड़ सकते हैं.
तो इंटरनेट ना देखिए, अभी हमने एक एक्सरसाइज किया करीब 6 महीने पहले. सो वी रियलाइज कि हम स्मार्टफोन यूज़र, अर्बन, एडुकेटेड, सिटी फर्स्ट हैं. पर so we went to what we call peri-urban segments. So they're not remote areas, but they're also not very privileged areas. They're very, you know, just about, you know, so they are poorer segments financially, right? So we mobilized about 500,000 women across, you know, across northern India, and we did sessions with them. हमने उनको, like, we got them in big halls and big rooms, and we did, you know, let's talk about आप क्या बनना चाहते हो, आप क्या करना चाहते हो, आपके क्या dreams हैं, what do you want out of your life, you know. And these are all younger women, they're 15, 16-year-olds. Each of those women said, you know, I only want 2 things. I want freedom to make my own decisions, and I want a smartphone. So
those are not very big dreams, are they?
They're not very big dreams, and they'll get there, you know. I mean, look at how fast we've grown in smartphone penetration. We have overtaken every country in the world.
That is true.
You know, but I think just there, this एक inflection point होता है, you know, nation की history में. I think हम वहाँ खड़े हैं. You know, so बहुत सारा काम जो offline दुनिया नहीं कर पाई, वो online दुनिया कर लेगी, क्योंकि you know, when people take matters in their own hands, when they take more charge, right? So computers करीब 30 साल पहले आए थे, और हम सब बोलते रहते हैं, you know, हम सब अपनी फैमिली में ऐसी मदर्स, सिस्टर्स, आंट्स को जानते हैं जो कहते हैं कि मुझे कंप्यूटर सीखना है, मुझे भी कंप्यूटर सिखा, राइट. बट जब तक वो कंप्यूटर स्मार्टफोन बन के व्हाट्सएप के रूप में नहीं आया, तो किसी ने यूज़ नहीं किया, नहीं, राइट. कोई क्लास में नहीं गया, किसी ने MS ऑफिस नहीं सीखा, किसी ने ईमेल नहीं सीखा, पर अब सब स्मार्टफोन पे व्हाट्सएप पे फॉरवर्ड भेज रहे हैं कि नहीं भेज रहे. बस वो चेंज आ तो गया.
और वो इसलिए कि व्हाट्सएप से क्या करना है लोगों को समझ आ गई थी. कंप्यूटर पे ईमेल मोस्ट पीपल से हम उसका क्या करेंगे.
हमारा काम है उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट को और इजी करना, और धीरे धीरे आप देखेंगे कि ये जो टेक्नोलॉजीज है ना और सिंपल हो जाएंगी. आप पहला फ़ोन कॉल याद कीजिए, पहला फ़ोन कॉल करना कितना मुश्किल काम था. पहले आप बुक करते थे, फिर वो एक्सचेंज में जाता था, फिर दिन में पता नहीं किस टाइम आएगा, मतलब पूरा दिन फ़ोन करना एक काम होता था, राइट. अभी कोई सोचता भी नहीं, मतलब फ़ोन भी नहीं करते लोग, क्योंकि टेक्स्ट कर देते हैं, व्हाट्सएप कर देते हैं. आई थिंक दिस इज़ अ बिग लीवर. अब हम इसका क्या करते हैं, इसको हम फॉरवर्ड भेजने के लिए यूज़ करेंगे, या यू नो महिलाओं के फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन के लिए यूज़ करेंगे, या
मूवमेंट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं,
मूवमेंट के लिए यूज़ करेंगे. आई थिंक वो हमारे हाथ में है. सो शीरोज़ प्लेटफॉर्म का भी वही रोल है कि हम इसको किसके लिए यूज़ कर रहे हैं, और इससे अगर किसी को वैल्यू मिल रही है तो लोग इसको अपने आप ढूंढ लेंगे। तो हम रोज़ हैरान होते हैं, हम तो छोटी सी कंपनी है, नई कंपनी है, रोज़ महिलाएं आती हैं ऐसे ऐसे जगहों से जिनके नाम हमें फिर मैप में जाके ढूंढने पड़ते हैं, राइट? और वो अपने आप ढूंढ लेते हैं, और इंग्लिश आए नहीं आए, गुजराती आए, तमिल आए, पंजाबी आए, मराठी आए, वो ढूंढ लेते हैं और दे फाइंड हेल्प, दे फिगर आउट कि मुझे यहाँ से कुछ मिल जाएगा।
And are these languages available?
So we are building them up.
Yeah.
Right now we're primarily English and a little bit of Hindi.
And some Telugu.
Some Telugu. We're testing actually. We're testing many experiments in vernacular. So we are enabled for about 15 languages, but we are rolling out in a phased manner so that we can really build our back end. We can sort of serve the same user. पर अभी भी रोज़ महिलाएं ऐसी आ जाती हैं जिनको मतलब हमारी टीम नहीं अज्यूम करती कि वो आएंगी, यू नो, और हमारा सिस्टम भी उनके लिए शायद पूरा तैयार भी नहीं है। बट आई थिंक व्हेन पीपल फाइंड वैल्यू एंड व्हेन पीपल हैव ड्रीम्स, उसके लिए फिर यू नो देयर इज नो ऑब्स्टिकल। व्हेन पीपल आर चार्ज्ड अप, व्हेन पीपल सी कि मैं करना चाहती हूँ, आउट ऑफ दिस 500,000 women we met, even if 10% sort of break that barrier, it's a big social change, right? और हम कितने तरीके से सोशल चेंज लाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, राइट? सरकार की स्कीम्स हैं, नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट सेक्टर का इतना काम है, इंस्टीट्यूशनल इतना काम है, इतना, you know, this work has been around for 60 years, you know, and it's important, but wouldn't it be nice if something catalyzed it, somebody made it faster, right? So I think there is an opportunity. I think हम अगर ये मान के चलें कि टेक्नोलॉजी उतनी ही हमारी दोस्त है जितना हम उसको बनाना चाहते हैं, तो फिर ये मतलब अच्छा मौका है हम सबके लिए।
It is a wonderful opportunity for women.
It is a great opportunity, right?
पर आपने जैसे बात की, जैसे you know when you have group meetings, 15-16 साल की लड़की है, आपने उनसे पूछा आप क्या बनना चाहती हैं, तो 15-16 साल की लड़की तो is not equipped with education. So how do you help her?
So basically we work at two levels. One is at the Sheroes platform level itself, right? So platform has a lot of, to begin with, it has a lot of support, peer support, you know, it has expert support, it has counseling support. So to begin with, you can actually talk about where you are in life, right? आप बात कर सकते हैं, और हम सब, you know, we are social beings, we learn when we talk, right? Social conversations are a big part of our genetic makeup, right? So information एक बहुत बड़ा strength है। फिर resources हैं, हमारे अपने tie-ups हैं, लर्निंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स के साथ, स्किलिंग के साथ, कंपनीज के साथ। फिर सेकेंड लेयर में हमारे ऑफलाइन पार्टनर्स हैं। देखिए बहुत सारे लोग इस फील्ड में बहुत साल से काम कर रहे हैं, बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। हम सिर्फ उन तारों को थोड़ा सा जोड़ रहे हैं, राइट? उनके काम की बहुत ज़रूरत है। इट वुड बी नाइस इफ देयर वाज, लेट्स से, एन NGO skilling somebody in workplace skills and there's a person looking for it. We're just making that connect. We can make it faster. We're also sort of providing this person with little more context and information. Right. कि मैं कहाँ जाऊँ, मेरे आसपास क्या है, मैं इस क्षेत्र में क्या कर सकती हूँ, या बहुत tactical सवाल ना भी हो, to say, you know, I just want to feel a little safe. I want to see what other people are doing, right? I want to see के you know, ब्यूटी पार्लर कैसे सेटअप करते हैं, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बिजनेस कैसे सेटअप करते हैं, हाउ कैन आई टेक केयर ऑफ माई ओन हेल्थ, हाउ कैन आई sort of do more of what I'm interested in, how can I travel more, how can I write more, how can I do more yoga, how can I swim more, how can I, you know, be a sports person, you know, there is so much, right? And I think that's the whole idea, कि this need not be a walled approach to how people should find success, right? Our assumption is कि कोई अगर इस स्ट्राटा का है तो उसका सक्सेस ऐसे लगेगा, और कोई उससे कम है तो उसका डिफरेंट लगेगा। आई थिंक वी डोंट नीड टू हैव दैट बैरियर।
इन फैक्ट अगर आपकी खुद की ज़िंदगी देखी जाए तो you know you have meandered in many directions before you came to this, right? From studying Russian and being an editor.
I've done so many things, and I've intuitively followed my own path. You know, and so if I was to apply for a job, I don't think I'll ever get one, you know, because they wouldn't know where to put me. But clearly, you know, and I think, and that's a big message, you know, as a country, we have a huge baggage of how templated success looks like. ऐसे होना चाहिए, अभी आप इतने साल के हो गए हो तो अब आप ये कर लो, फिर आप शादी कर लो, फिर आप बच्चे कर लो, फिर आप, you know, ऐसे चलते रहो, safety में, you know, don't take risks, don't sort of push yourself out of your comfort zone, don't learn new things. वो एक cultural baggage है हमारा थोड़ा सा. And I think जो आगे की दुनिया आ रही है for two reasons, social reasons and also the macro context, right? We all know technology is going to take over our lives. We will need to respond faster. We will need to do more changes in our life at a much faster pace. We will need to sort of learn, unlearn, relearn, you know, in a more frantic pace, right?
Yeah. And that is okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely the real opportunity, you know. I mean, there isn't a successful person out there who says, I'm going to stay where I am, right? Or I'm going to continue doing what I do today, right? And I think, and that's a big message out there.
That is a big message, and why I specifically spoke about your life is because आपने डॉक्यूमेंट्री भी बना ली, एडिटिंग भी कर ली, बहुत सारी चीज़ें आपने की, और जो लोग आपके प्लेटफॉर्म पे आ रही हैं, ख़ास तौर पर यंग गर्ल्स, यू नो, finding your mojo is a part of it also. मुझे क्या करना है, I'm not certain. I just want to be, I want to say make money, or I want to be big or great, but I don't know how to go about it.
Absolutely. So we always, you know, so if you open the Sheroes app today, we have this front message which says, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. You know, because jab tak, you know, we always see the success. We don't know what goes behind the success. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of failures. It's a lot of taking wrong decisions. If you don't take decisions, that's when you're stuck. आप decision ले लो, वो गलत है, पर आपने कुछ सीखा तो सही, आप आगे तो बढ़े, बस वहाँ से.
In fact, ये देखा जाता है for women in India, they are not allowed to fail.
They're not allowed to fail, and there's so much social pressure about always being right, and always being right, always being the one with responsibility, and always the one, you know, who's assumed to have lesser dreams. You know, I always say, matlab, you know, I always feel, even in our social communication, even our messaging, we're constantly enforcing some of those stereotypes, right? But I do feel that if, you know, if we have a vision as a nation of saying that we will change some of our development numbers, we will change our employment numbers, we will change the status of women in this country, we will have better governance, better infrastructure, we got to build this in. We got to build more entrepreneurial people. We got to build people who will take charge of their own lives, because that's when they will go out and create better impact. If you're looking for people who are looking to fit in, and the only sort of way they look at success is when they find a place and they want to live there forever in their lives, you know, we're not going to progress as a nation, right? We need more dynamism, we need more challenging of ideas, we need a bigger failure rate for us to be successful as a nation.
And that's very well put, and I love your tagline, take charge.
Absolutely, take more charge, right? Every day is an opportunity, and what you do with that 24 hours really sort of adds up, right? It's like sports training. Practice every morning. जो Olympics होंगे वो तो, you know, आपकी life में 3 बार होंगे या 2 बार होंगे शायद, but practice every single day, right?
You know, जब हम men and women की बात करते हैं, खास तौर पे जो professionals हैं, देखा जाता है कि men are professionals, but women always have 2 careers, क्योंकि घर तो है, in fact 3, because they are also the mothers in the house.
They're also the mothers, they're everything, you know, they are the mothers, they are the chef planners, they are the wedding planners, they throw birthday parties, they decide किसको क्या लिया, क्या दिया, किसने क्या पहनना है, किसके लिए क्या खाना बनेगा, किसके लिए कम नमक डालेगा, किसके लिए ज़्यादा मीठा डालेगा. It's so much of emotional baggage to carry, right? And most men in this country don't even know how to prepare a meal. They can't feed themselves. आधा काम तो महिलाओं को यही है कि आदमियों का पेट भरें, right? I mean, it is a lot of emotional baggage that women carry. They, you know, we have bigger families, we have more festivals, you know, we are a more complex society. At least Western societies में लोग फ्रिज से निकाल के माइक्रोवेव में डाल के खा लेते हैं. हम तो हर 3 टाइम रोटी सब्जी दाल बनाते हैं ना, तो मतलब it's work. Somebody has to manage that work, and there is no credit for that work, unfortunately. You know, I mean, we can keep saying, you know, some nice things in a few advertisements here and there, but you know, it's really taken for granted, right? I do feel you know, there's an opportunity for us to train both our girls and boys to be more independent in life skills. You know, cooking is a life skill. It's not a woman's job, you know.
So are you doing something which is proactive in this direction as well?
Actually, we created this initiative called The Shift. So where we sort of actually bring in, you know, the biggest CEOs in this country into the room and talk to them about this. So we actually, you know, as a woman founder, woman CEO, I get asked all the time, आप work life balance कैसे करते हो? तो हम ना men CEOs को बुलाते हैं, फिर हम उनसे यही पूछते हैं, आप कैसे करते हो? तो फिर पता चलता है वो तो नहीं करते हैं, उनकी wives करती हैं, right? So it's really like a opportunity to say, you know, you got to own it from the top, you know, and you got to send the right message. We can't continue to have the same messaging that women belong at home and men belong in the workplace. Women do all the caregiving work and men do all the financial work. It's not fair.
It's not fair. In fact, some of the top CEOs of international companies, women, have spoken about how tough it is, because right in the middle of you know, a meeting of head honchos, you have to figure out whether your child can play with the game or can do her homework, or so you have to manage that.
You have to manage
while you're talking to other CEOs.
Yeah, and if you don't do it because the conditioning is such, you know, you carry so much guilt with you, right? You're conditioned for guilt. You know, I don't know a single guy who's so guilty about, you know, not being there for child's homework. And I think family, parenting, life skills, cooking, these are shared responsibilities. Why should only women sort of own them? And similarly, I think there are some things that we have also typecast men into, right? कि बैंक का काम, you know, आदमी करेंगे, insurance वो decide करेंगे, you know, flat का registration वो करेंगे. I think women can equally do it, right?
जहाँ भी पैसे की बात है,
हाँ, पैसे की बात है, या you know, I remember sitting in a friend's house when I was, I think, 11-year-old, and you know, her dad was a politician, and so a bunch of guys were sitting and talking there, and then her mom came and sat in the room, and you know, the dad said, "ये सियासत की बातें हैं, तुम क्या जानोगे?" You know, like it's such a given, right? That men will run. You know, and every day you see this, you know, these big summits happening and big conferences happening and planning meetings and everything, and you see basically loads of blue suits, right? Men in suits run everything: financial markets, policy market, public policy, politics. We got to change that.
We got to change it. But when you talk about Sheroes, as the name suggests, it's about women heroes. But do you think then it becomes a bubble or a silo where people get the impression that, you know, this is a space only for women where men are not welcome in any which way?
Actually, the space is only for women, and that's for two reasons. See, the internet, let's look at it from a real world dimension, you know. We all know the real world is equally not safe.
Right.
You know, from a privacy perspective, from a non-judgmental perspective, from, you know, freedom perspective, and internet kind of reflects that, right? So we know a lot of social platforms are there, but you know, we also know there's a lot of spam and trolling and, you know, privacy issues, judgment issues, right? All of that, right? And we've seen a lot of these things trend and untrend and all of that happen. I think the opportunity is to create a safe space, to begin with a safe space. Therefore, it's an only women's space. It's not an only women's space because we want to exclude the men. We do engage in initiatives which bring men into the conversation. We work, our key stakeholders are men, change makers are men, right? But I think this space is for safe conversations. It's for non-judgmental. You know, I can be anyone. I don't have to worry about, you know, what will public say, what will my family think, what will my husband say, what will my boyfriend think, how do I look okay? It doesn't have to work your confidence up, right? It doesn't have to sort of impact it negatively.
So how do you work the security? Because I can go and log into Sheroes. And a guy with a female name can also log in.
They can. So we have checks and balances in place. You know, we do very active vigilance on that. And we also have some back-end algos. So we're very quick to catch these. And that's the tech that we're deploying. We also do a lot of spam filtering, pornographic filtering. Most platforms on the internet don't have that kind of investment like we do, and we continue to invest in it. So it's not 100%, it can never be, because you know these are sort of social platforms, but we have a very high vigilance rate. A woman can flag a behavior and say this is not safe, and we have a no tolerance policy against abuse. You know, people can't use bad words, people can't use, you know, pornographic images, they can't abuse, they can't spam, they can't spoil others' experience, you know, so it's very, very filtered.
That's wonderful, because as you said, this is a safe space for any woman, and because age is not really a barrier. You can have a young girl also.
Absolutely. We've actually, you know, getting a lot of younger women find their voice on Sheroes, and you know, these are issues we somehow don't have spaces for. You know, talking about puberty issues, talking about my first boyfriend issues, when should I have sex for the first time, you know, where do I go if I have a complaint against a teacher, you know, how do I handle my aspiration versus what the world expects from me. These are real issues, right? Or how should I dress up, or I feel less confident, or you know, I'm not so okay with, you know, my nose or my hair or my waist. You know, there's so much, you know, we all have similar issues, right?
That's right.
And I think all we need is a little support, right? Or somebody trying to say you look fine, right? Like just, you know, go ahead and do what you're doing.
Sometimes that's all you need.
That's all you need, right? So that's the nature. So you know, right from I think 13, 14-year-olds to, you know, 55, 60-year-olds, we span the whole range.
You know, because we are talking about safety of women, safety of women in the workspace, in the outside world, is also a huge question.
It is a huge question.
And not just at the workplace, but the commute from the workplace or to school or college, that also is a huge issue. Are you looking into that as well?
You know, we do work with stakeholders, and I do feel very strongly that we need to do a lot more than what we are doing. You know, and I think India as a country needs to take some institutional stands on these issues, whether it is creating of, you know, publicly available lists of offenders, you know, marking of safe spaces, making workplaces more accountable, creating better communication, you know, creating more accountability within our judicial systems, within our executive. I think there's a lot of work to be done. We do contribute a little bit, but clearly it's not enough.
Yeah, but you do guide.
We do work with stakeholders. We also have a lot of policy initiatives. We consult companies, we consult CEOs. We also create mechanisms for, again, safe spaces. So for example, we run what we call corporate helplines for companies. We always tell them, create spaces where your employees can find neutral access, where it's not colored by your internal organization and its politics, right? And that itself is a big message to send out, to say we are committed to this, you know. And I think once the commitment starts showing from the top, you know, it's much easier to create buy-in, right? You're not sort of building it one by one. You're saying, hey, this is a big mission for us as a country.
And you're setting examples yourself, because at Sheroes, women can bring in their children, for example.
Women have always brought in their kids, men bring in kids. So we have this wonderful, you know, workspace where actually men who's, you know, where both the couples work. So men end up bringing kids because, you know, we're like a very kid-friendly workspace. Of course, the millennials want to bring their pets, which we occasionally allow. You know, we haven't got there yet. But I think just sort of being, you know, a lot of work today is about unlocking individual discretion, you know, and that can only be unlocked when how you feel today is all right. You know, you have to feel okay to do great work. You know, you're not sitting on a factory machine and sort of just chipping away and doing the same process all day. You're using all your senses, you're using your intellectual capabilities, you're using your emotional capabilities to produce something that is, you know, that's a real world solution. So if you have to unlock that, our workspace has to allow people to be who they are, you know, and clearly there's never a perfect situation there, but we really do try.
Sairee, you've had an interesting experience dealing with corporates to bring them, rope them in. What was that like?
When I started doing this work a couple of years ago, it was very, very different. I think people used to, look at me to say, what are you trying to do, and आप महिलाओं का काम करते हैं, आप यहाँ क्यों आ रहे हैं types, right? So, but I think there are 3-4 aspects to this conversation. I think one aspect is around building the gig economy, right? More flexible work, more modular work, so that people can fit work into their lives, right? So online work, remote work, work from home. Second is more entrepreneurial work, right? And we are seeing those models play out, right? There are companies who don't own real world assets but have partners who work with them throughout the world, right? Third is, I think, just corporate culture and imbibing inclusion and diversity into corporate cultures, right? And fourth is, I think, really creating a P&L buy-in, right? How do you get CEOs, CXOs to think about this as a real driver of business and not as a to-do once a year on Wednesday, right? How do you sort of get them to see the value that a more diverse workforce can bring? Also, how do they sort of create more financial outcomes because you're getting access to a bigger pool of talent, to a bigger customer pool, to better partners? It's when you have more choices, it's like the consumer market. More choices is good for the customer, right? And I think the same rules apply when we're building businesses. When your market size is limiting and your fishing pool is really tiny, you're not going to get great outcomes. So companies have to sort of imbibe this as part of their processes. I think there are some companies who've done really good there. They're making deep investments. And I guess it's a journey. We work with about 17,000 companies today. And clearly, at least those are partners on the journey. They are more committed, or at least they have fitted it into their business in some ways, that we are going to make an effort to work with women, and not because it's good for women, it's good for us. So that has been part of the story. And now, as we
was it easy to access corporates like that?
I have to say, corporates are curious beings. They are always curious about what's new on the horizon. But execution is a different ball game altogether, right? So it's easy to sort of go out and commit, right, or to pay lip service to something, especially something that's a very nice cause, right? It sounds good in PR and things like that. But execution is hard, and that's where the real sort of, proof lies for everyone. I would say we've met with moderate success. I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and a lot of real execution, that companies need to do, that we also need to do, in terms of opening out some of these opportunities, in terms of connecting the dots. And I think between the changing world of business, changing world of technology, and the gender gap that we are sitting at, I think that there is, between these 3 concentric circles, there is this common overlap, and that's the sweet spot. So some companies clearly get it, that's the sweet spot for us to hit. And I guess rest will get.
So what are the sort of companies that?
Actually, there are all sorts. There are really some of the legacy companies, the big guys like Unilever's and Accenture and IBM's of the world. And then there are, the upcoming Paytms of the world. And then there are very small, medium businesses, preschools to beauty parlor chains to, small manufacturing companies, large manufacturing companies. Now we really do the spread.
Do you also do kind of angel work as well? If somebody has an idea, do you?
Right. So today we don't invest, but we do a lot of mentoring and making the connects for them. Personally, I invest a lot of my time in that. So in an average year, I meet about 200 to 250 women entrepreneurs, and I run this thing called Saturdays with Sairee, where I open out my calendar, and women from all walks can come and meet me, but a lot of them who come to meet me end up being entrepreneurs. They are people with ideas or have done something. So today we directly don't invest, but we do work with partners. We work with the VC system, the angel ecosystem. But just from a sheer volume perspective, those numbers are still small. I think just our startup ecosystem is still nascent, and we're building it up. But
it's been how many years now? 2014 you started?
Yes, 2014, right. So, but just from an India perspective as well, all our startup success is very, very new. We're we are where China used to be, let's say 20 years ago, right? So I think we have a little gap there, and women get clearly a much smaller pie, 2 to 3% of the funding raised in entirety, right? And yeah, but what we are seeing is the pipeline is slowly increasing. The number of women who are starting up, women who are doing businesses. Also, I think there is an opportunity to create instruments which are not the traditional venture instruments, because venture works at a certain scale. It works on a certain size, but a lot of women are micro entrepreneurs or home-based entrepreneurs, or they do something which they call a business, right? So there are very few women who say I'm an entrepreneur or I run a startup, right? That's not the terminology that's commonly sort of heard, right? So we have to talk to them in their own context. The size of funding they're looking is actually much smaller, and we need to create instruments and avenues for that funding to come in.
No, but why is it so? Is it because the ideas are smaller, or is it because
it's both? It's really both, because ideas are closer to their own context. I want to set up a boutique store, I want to set up a beauty parlor, and India needs it. Every country that has grown needs small and medium businesses, and we need to promote those, because not every business can be a venture-backed business, because venture capital is actually the smallest funding class. It's a different matter that it makes the largest noise. So everyone assumes that these guys do all the investments in the world. The truth is, most businesses are not venture investable or venture invested, right? So I think we need to create more avenues where women can take short-term loans, more personal finance, more access to credit, more operating capital. Some of these instruments need to go bigger.
And what about the fact that आजकल खास तौर पे देखा जा रहा है कि टेक्नोलॉजी के आने से नए नए ट्रेंड्स आ रहे हैं जहाँ बिजनेस के स्कोप है. These are totally new spaces. तो आप क्या ऐसा भी कुछ कर रही हैं जिससे लोगों को समझ आए कि maybe this is an area which you could experiment with?
Right. So what we do, a couple of things there. One is we showcase a lot of stories of women who are doing interesting things. Whether they're social enterprises, whether they're technology-backed enterprises, whether they're consumer brands. So we spotlight a lot of women-owned businesses. Two, we work with partners. So we work with right from accelerators to incubators to people who are doing sector-specific work, right? So whether somebody is doing insurtech or fintech or consumer tech or whatever they're doing, we are very well connected with the partner ecosystem. And then, of course, there's a lot of advice available to me. At Sheroes, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of advice. We run this business plan competition that we invite women to come and pitch. We do a lot of offline meetups. So we sort of integrate a lot of that. And also because this is a process, right? People are at various stages and they're looking for various things. So that alignment can never be like a mass alignment. It can't be like you get everyone in the room and do something. It has to be, it's a little like fitness, right? You have to remember to drink your 8 glasses every day. You can't drink a bucket one day, right? That's the nature of how some of these resources and finding those connections work. And people who are more proactive obviously become more successful.
What about women from abroad, PIOs and all? Are they also part of this?
Actually, they are, so we have members in Singapore, we have a community in US, which we actually now going to do some interesting experiments with. We do have a member base in the Middle East. We are getting some requests from countries like Indonesia. So it's slowly spreading. Yeah, but still, India is still our focus.
And what about women who are not Indians? Are they also kind of
straying
onto your website?
Oh yes, lots of them, lots and lots of them. So we realize some issues are universal issues. Matter of heart, matter of dreams, matter of ambition, matter of support, fitness. These are very common themes for all of us. So women do connect from wherever.
Since we are talking about dreams, you've created something which is kind of unusual. But when you left home at 17, that's not what you intended to do, was it?
I had no idea, actually. But all I knew was, to me, it still feels like I want a bigger sky, I want to get out, I want to learn more. So my career graph has been basically a massive learning curve. I have jumped into anything that has excited me, and I've had an opportunity to learn, like a sports person, where you train hard every single day. And I think that's been phenomenal. That's what I've enjoyed the most, right? To say, hey, I've tried so many things and I've learned something from each one of them. And they're also my community, right? People I've worked with, my partners, you know, employees I've hired, they're all my community now, right? And somewhere, you know, it all sort of has led us to Sheroes, and you don't know where it'll lead us further, right?
But with Sheroes, do you feel this is it for you?
You know, I think Sheroes has a lot more depth. You know, I think we can really build this work deeper. We can do so much more, right? 100 million women is a good number to sort of touch,
it's a
right?
huge number, yeah.
So I think abhi hai, usme kaam hai. You know, I'm still excited about it. I still get up every day and I can't wait to get to work. It's very hard for me to shut off my phone. I can't stop thinking of new ideas. And I just, you know, and the thing is, you can see the impact of your work. Every day, women from all of the country reach out to say, I feel supported. I did better at what I was doing. I found a new idea. I made a change in my life. I feel connected. And you know, how can we sort of even think of stopping when so much is going on, right? It's
and also, in a way, Sheroes is like a generic term for the sky. You know, you can go anywhere and you're still...
We're still there. You know, we're like the earth.
Yeah. You know, we talked about the millennials before we went into the break. Now, this is an entirely new breed of human beings.
I know. I love them, by the way. And there's so many of them I work with. And I learned so much from them. And I think they just... you know, I love their energy, you know, and their lack of baggage, you know.
And they seem to have evolved at a much faster pace than we have for some reason.
They totally are. Because, you know, it's like this, they travel light and they don't have baggage, so they can move faster, and they, you know, they don't have any judgments, so life is easier.
And jumping off the cliff is...
easier, right?
Yeah,
when you don't have any baggage, you can just go, wear your wings and go.
Yeah. Isn't it fantastic?
It's fantastic. I love working with young people. Most of Sheroes actually run by very, very young people. People who are fresh out of college, people with, you know, can do, will do attitude, you know, and that's the team I bank upon, you know. So I think millennials are great just from the possibility perspective. Also, you know, they're just free from a lot of biases, you know, cultural biases, political biases, baggage. You know, they're forward thinking. It's good for us. You know, Buddha said, be in the now. I think they are in the now. They only, you know, they change their apps every day. So I think it's a good thing.
They don't hold on to that either.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's fine, you know? And that's something we have to learn at a particular point, to let go of the past.
Let go, you know, we carry too much of past. We worry too much about the future, and, you know, we only have today.
How do you manage, of course this is a question a lot of people ask you, but you're not really a 9-to-5, are you?
No, I'm not at all.
So for you it's an 18-hour day?
Yeah. So when I hire people, the first thing I ask them, can you keep up with me? Like, you know, like I'm forever on and joyfully on, you know, not a moment is a drag for me, and I thrive on this, honestly. And it is hard for me to switch off. It's hard for me to go for holidays where there's no internet. So you know, it's kind of and that's my you know, that's work for me to do, to say this is my part of letting go at some point. But yeah, I thrive on it.
You can't let go, can you?
You know, at least not for Sheroes, not in my work context. Other things I don't care for.
No, I meant in the context of Sheroes.
Totally. Like Sheroes, where I'm
so you can't really imagine a day where you just kicked back and relaxed and...
You know, not really. You know, I think it's just, so even if technically I'm not doing work, I'm not in meetings, I'm not checking mail, I'm not pitching, I'm not sort of doing anything, my mind's still full of those ideas, right? So I can not be physically there, and I may not be even sort of, you know, talking to my colleagues or sort of doing anything, you know, directly, but you know, you know, if let's say I met a new person, let's say I met you today, or let's say I went somewhere, I would constantly be sort of, you know, connecting the dots, right? To say, you know, oh, this person would sort of be very useful for this context, or they would sort of, you know, they can be a great champion for Sheroes, or you know, oh, we should do some work here, there's an opportunity here.
You can count me in any time.
I'm going to.
How then do you, again, the question of that balance, that most important balance that women have to kind of maintain between home and work.
I know.
How do you do it with your young daughter?
Yeah. So, you know, basically, I kind of picked this up. So, Randy Zuckerberg once articulated this very nicely. So, there are 5 things, right? There's friends, fitness, family, work, and sleep. So, she says pick any 3.
Okay.
Okay. So, you can't have 5. You cannot have any 3.
Okay. So, which are the 3 you've picked?
So, you know, I think it's work, it's family, and it's split between sleep and fitness. You know, so some days I sleep, some days I exercise, but you know, clearly very little social life, to be honest. And I guess it's a trade-off. You know, you got to say, I'm clearly not available to my extended family. I'm a write-off in most social cases. Even at the PTA level, it's my husband who does a lot of heavy lifting. But I guess that's a trade-off, that you got to be okay with the kind of imbalance you choose. You know, and there's only as much space. You can fill any 3 items in whichever permutation and combination you want. Sometimes you have a long work day. In those days, you don't drink enough water, you don't eat your fruits, you don't exercise, you don't sleep. That's fine. Some days you have a perfect day. You get half an hour of yoga. You eat breakfast on time. You have meetings all day. You eat lunch on time, and you sort of come back home at 7 o'clock. Wow, that's a great day, right? But those days are limited. We all know. Some days you're on flights between, you know, literally you land at 9 p.m. and you go away at, you know, 8 a.m. again. So there are all sorts of days, and you know, and I guess other thing is to sort of get support. You know, you can't do it yourself. You know, and there are, you know, life comes in cycles. There is a 3rd gear and a 5th gear for all of us. And when you're in 3rd gear and 5th gear, then you need somebody to sort of support you. And at some point, you support other people. You babysit, you know, your friends' kids. You know, do school drops, picks. You do whatever you can do. You know, but I guess, and of course, delegate. There's so much of delegation you can do, right? Like I remember, you know, we didn't have somebody to cook last year for almost 15 days, and I couldn't come back home and cook. I just didn't have time. So I figured all the dabbawalas on the apps. I figured Zomato and Swiggy and everyone in the world. I figured, what can I stock that my daughter can make herself a sandwich when she comes back? So you do these things, right? And I guess every working mom does it. You know, and I do hope more dads pitch in, and more, you know, more support is available. And those are also business opportunities, right?
Absolutely.
Like I always say, you know, these are 2-3 big problems. Home cooked meals, babysitting arrangements. I feel women should just take over these areas and build companies around this.
That's a fantastic idea.
You know,
isn't
so
it?
Absolutely, right? Create pools and do this. So my friend Priya Krishnan did that. She set up clay preschools, and you know, she did it for the same reason. She, you know, she as a mom, as a founder, sort of faced it. So she said, I'm going to solve it, and she's built the largest daycare chain in India.
Fantastic.
Right? You know, so
what about the guilt factor when you have to leave your kid?
You know, I think I've sort of now found a space and peace about it. Honestly, I'm not a very guilty person by design. I feel if you're making yourself happy, I think you will make others around yourself happy. You know, it's the energy exchange, right? And with my daughter, I think she's actually one of my biggest allies. You know, she's somebody I count in my team, because she's sort of has seen this ever since she was a little baby. She's seen me at work,
and she's a wise old soul at 10.
So you know, she's actually quite clever and wicked, you know, but she knows that this is my thing, you know. And I guess I do hope as a parent, she can look at me and say, here's a woman who's fighting for her own happiness and for doing what appeals to her, you know, and I hope she will make those decisions for herself as well, you know, and I do think that's all right.
Coming back to the sports thing, you said that when you choose 3 of the 5, fitness is one of them. What kind of fitness do you?
So I'm generally on the go. That's why I wear sports shoes, so that I can do a lot of walking meetings, and I can, you know, I take all my calls walking. So I figured, you know, gym to kabhi nahi jana hoga, because, you know, it's like a job, right? You're adding to your list, but at least I can walk. I do my yoga in the morning. I try to be as active as possible, but when I get tired, then I sleep or I rest.
We are talking to the founder of Sheroes, Sairee Chahal. Sairee, as we come to the end of the program, is there a message that you would like to give to the women in the country and people who are associated with Sheroes or would like to be associated with it?
Right. So I think my only message to women out there is to take more charge, to remember that you get your life once, and it's, you know, it's no one else's job but yours to make sure that you live it as per how you want it, and do things that you love, and create the impact that you want to create, you know. And there's a lot of support available. There's Sheroes available, there's a whole community available. We are making that effort. We really wish you make that effort for yourself as well. And don't forget that you can be somebody's role model. So you don't know who you are inspiring.
Isn't that wonderful, and such a lovely thought to end the program on. I do hope that people do get inspired by Sheroes and learn to take charge of their lives and become something they want to become. Thanks so much for being on our program today.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Well, I do hope that you enjoyed our program today. Until next time then, goodbye.